Good day, everyone. Welcome to Mosaic AI Agentic Data Room webinar series. Allow us to give a minute so that everybody can join in, and then we'll kick off the webinar. Okay, let's kick off. First of all, thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule. And in case if you couldn't make it, not to worry, several requested a recorded version. So we will record this session and then we will share with you. First of all, a few housekeeping items. We are Mosaic AI. Mosaic AI is a real world asset tokenization platform, which is a combination of AI and blockchain. In this webinar, we are focusing on the AI portion. We have taken the AI portion of our technology stack and created this agentic data room. Secondly, we are doing a series of these webinars. So every Friday, we touch on a certain topic. This is a very big area, as you already know, agentic AI. So every Friday, we touch on a specific topic and illustrate that with our specific product offering. So without further ado, I will share my screen. I will first give a high-level introduction of what agentic data room is. Then I will go into our specific software application. So, and I'll try to keep it within 20 minutes and open it up for question answers after that. So agentic data room is a place where people can upload investment documents, and instead of along with humans, AI agents will extract the data, run analysis, and generate decision ready outputs. Now, to understand the value of agentic data room, we need to understand what is the current state of affairs. So whenever there is a new deal, people upload documents, and these could be as big as 200 to 800 pages, and an analyst will have to spend about 8 to 15 hours going through these documents. And these documents are static, they are storage only. There is no modeling or analytical layer. And every time you have to corroborate some facts, you'll have to go through the spreadsheets and manually audit these things. So it's a highly manual, tedious, intensive process, and you have to do it again and again. The agentic-led solution is where a set of agents will go through the documents, extract key facts from those documents, for example, revenue or earnings per share or what have you, do financial modeling, and they can do several things, but they can definitely detect any risks. Now, one of our core innovations is we are using a credit-based system to keep the cost low. As you already have heard, the cost of AI can be significant. We are trying to keep that cost low. So the process is very simple. You select a workspace, you upload your documents, you preview and approve the cost, AI will execute, and you'll get the output. We have a set of AI agents, and this is something which we will elaborate and illustrate in today's webinar series. At the core is there is like the equivalent of a coordinator, concierge, or what we call an orchestrator omni. Omni is the Latin for multiple. So he is your first point of contact, and depending on your workflow, he will delegate tasks to other agents. For example, if it's offering memorandum generation or an outreach, he'll reach out to Marketing Mary. If it's doing a detailed analysis, he'll reach out to Analyst Annie. And then he will review their work and present it to the user. So this actually is a multi-agent collaborative environment. Each agent has specific skills. They have been trained on specific skills, whereas the orchestrator omni coordinates everybody's task. Now, one of the key things to note, as I always already mentioned, that we are taking a lot of very innovative techniques to keep the cost low. So we have a credit-based system, which I will show you momentarily. And every credit is, depending on the number of pages in the documents, you can see the credits, and that's how charges will be made. Now, interesting thing is this agentic data room can be multi-purpose or it can be used for multiple workspaces. So it is one platform, same logging, but you can use it for regular financial analysis. You can use it for commercial mortgage-backed securities workspace, where you will try to normalize the net operating income of an asset. You can try to find a loan and size the loan, or you can use a generic CRE workspace. So this agentic data room can be very easily used for different purposes. So that's kind of the high level overview of agentic data room. And without further ado, I will go into the actual software. So this is what agentic data room looks like. I'm in this organization called Nebula. First of all, I'll attract your attention to credits. I have 35,000 credits, so I have lots of credits. And by the way, because of attending this webinar, I'll give you, or if you listen to the recording or registered, I'll definitely send you some credits so that you can use this without any cost to yourself. So you can do many things, like you can do an asset analysis or you can generate a podcast. There are many other features for this. So before going into, let's try to understand the plans and billings. So as I told you, we work on a credit-based system. So as low as $9, it's fully integrated with Stripe. So it is live and functional. You can buy 10,000 credits. And what are you going to do with these credits? If you come to agent rates, let's say you have uploaded a set of documents and the documents has 47 pages. So the AI agents will scan through the documents and then give you an estimate. So to process 47 pages, you will burn 164 credits for asset analysis, 141 for offering memorandum, and this adds up to about 73 cents. So we are using a lot of innovative techniques, which I'll elaborate, to keep the cost of AI oriented analysis very, very low so that anybody can use this. So this is the plans and the billings, and we keep track of all the usage history. These are the things which I have done historically. I have analyzed a fund, I have generated the podcast, and what have you. So I will go back to create new. I will try to analyze an asset, and what you can use this, as I mentioned, for any public equities or for private equities. Since private equity, if it's for public equities, we typically go through the SEC filing reports like 10K, 10Q, 8K, what have you, and we'll give you a guidance of what these reports look like. For example, 10K is a full annual report, fully audited. Whereas 8K is very interesting. It is event triggered whenever there's a material event, like maybe change of CEO, or there is something interesting which is happening. So a new deal, you will get an 8K filing, pardon me. So this gives you a guidance of what these SEC filings are, but keep in mind these are for public equities. This same agentic data room works for private equities. So in private equities, let's say a large commercial real estate building, all right, or a private company, a company which hasn't gone public yet, you will get a term sheet, you'll get a diligence report, you'll get a financial overview, and you can upload these things. So the person who's trying to analyze, he will get these different kinds of documentation and you can upload it. So right at the gate, we give you this guidance. So let's come back to public equities, because in the webinar, just so that everybody can relate to, we provide we work with public equities so that everybody can relate to and it's easier to illustrate. So here I can select and drop documents. So today we are going to use SanDisk. So I have already, just for illustration purposes, I have downloaded the SEC filings of SanDisk, Form 8K, Form 10K, 10Q, what have you. Now, keep in mind, I'm doing this for the purpose of the webinar, but in real life situation, AI agents will go ahead and extract it. Now, there is something interesting which I want to show you. As our software keeps track of the number of documents that you uploaded. So he's telling you that, we are expecting 8, but you have uploaded only 4, which is probably fine. We'll try to go do an analysis. And he also gives you the list of documents that I have uploaded. Now you can instruct the AI to do different things. Maybe you flag material risk. Maybe you compare matrix to the peers.Maybe you identify insider trading. So I will choose flag material risk, and then it modifies the prompt. So it's a easy handler. Now I'll start the analyzing the asset. When this happens, as I told you, AI agents will go analyze the number of documents. So I have given him 566 pages. It's approximately 3.5 credit per page. So it is telling you that I'll burn 1981 credits. You already have 35,000 credits. So in dollar terms, this will be less than $2, 98. And this will be your balance currently is 35. It'll come down to 33. So for this is how we are going away from a generic subscription which may be unused to a pay per use or pay whenever you use. At the same time, keep the cost very, very low. So I'll authorize and run this. Now the action started. It takes a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is take this and open up a new tab. We don't have to wait for this whole thing to finish, but just like a cooking show, I am going to show you like what happened before, and then we'll come back. So if I come back to activity history, this current asset analysis is ongoing, but I analyzed SanDisk last night just for this webinar, and I'm going to present the analysis from last night. Things might have changed a little bit from yesterday to today. So SanDisk has an amazing run over the last 1 year. And so the first is a price chart. The second thing is we are also doing a scenario planning, like what is a base case in 2 year times, what is a bull case, and what is a bear case. So by the end of fiscal year 26, the base case will be 920, the bull case can be 1250, and the bear case can be 650 from the current valuation of 987. And the same for for the end of 27. So this is like using AI predictive modeling, we are generating this. Now comes more interesting center of our work. So we extract, given the documents, we extract key facts. For example, what was the last quarter's revenue? $3 billion. The expense is remarkably low, but it's accurate. We checked it. And then what is the total assets of SanDisk and what are the liabilities? And then we break it down in different factors. Factors could be valuation, growth, profitability, momentum, revisions. Now, the each of these factors are there is a certain KPI or there are a set of KPIs which are extracted from the documents and used to find a score. For example, if you look at momentum, momentum is the easiest to understand. We track the price performance over 1 month, 2, 3 months, 6 months relative to S&P 500, weighted towards longer periods, right? Also consider institutional ownership. So that gives you an indicator of momentum. Similarly, if you look to growth, there are factors like revenue growth or EPS growth or forward estimates. So we extract all these things. So Gen AI is very good at extracting those things, and I'll show you in more detail. But then we use our quant modeling to combine these factors and generate an overall score. So our quant modeling is basically a AI oriented, a machine learning oriented weighted average of these and tries to predict what will happen over the next 1 year or so. So this weighted average is shown here. So along with that, we give a narrative of the strengths and the risks. We also give the team summary, etc. So their strengths clearly is the NAND flash technology leadership, right? and they have a very strong consumer brand presence. So it is the growth of AI which is driving this SSD demand. Now, if I come to market intelligence will combine this course and create a nice visualization, but it will also show you peer analysis, like how it is doing with respect to the peers. And then, for example, the peers would be things like Micron or SK Hynix or Samsung. It'll do a peer analysis and also do news and views. So now, with that, I will come to another thing which is actually very, very critical. If you come to more and go to document analysis, you will see that these are the documents that I have uploaded. And in each one of these documents, our AI extracted these facts. So this one has all the documents. This one has a detailed view, the extracted view of these documents. So if I go to the ARS and I show in preview, this is the ARS, the annual report from 2025, which came up. So we keep these documents, we extract the key facts, then we combine them with the quantitative modeling to create this overview. So that's kind of the net. We'll come back and show the more recent things. But I will now go to Agent Galaxy. Now, the Agent Galaxy, as I told you, we have a set of agents. Orchestrator Omni is your first meeting point, and then there are people like Marketing Mary and Analyst Annie. Now, if you go into Analyst Annie, these are not only pretty pictures, but these AI agents have an identity registry and a reputation registry. Let me elaborate on that. These agents have an identity on the blockchain. To understand that, you need to go into view on 8004 scan. So this is the view on the blockchain. Analyst Annie, it has the description. It's almost like what she's advertising to the whole world, what she's doing, but she has an identity on the blockchain and people can give feedback to her work. And I want you to remember her current feedback score is 4.6 and total feedback given was 10. She also has a wallet. She has an identity and a wallet and amount of money. So you get the payments will go to her wallet. So this AI agents are not just pretty pictures, but they have an identity, and even more importantly, they have a feedback registry. So allow me to give a mock feedback. So I'll try to give a feedback. I'll give her a 5-star rating, and I will tell that she is accurate and she is reliable. Now, keep in mind, before I submit the feedback, a very interesting thing will happen. When I submit the feedback, I, as the provider of the feedback, will need to cryptographically sign the feedback. So for that, it is opening up a crypto wallet and asking me to confirm this feedback so that people know these are not spams, these are not bots, these are real users with real identity who are cryptographically signing the feedback. So I confirmed it. It says the feedback is submitted. Now, if I close this, it takes a minute. If you remember, the total feedback was 10. Now it has gone up to 11. And the average score moved from 4.6 to 4.7. So if you go back to 8004 scan, it takes a minute to propagate on the blockchain. So I'll refresh the screen and it updated. So the big point is our AI agents, this entire session is about trustworthy agents. How do we make our agents trustworthy? Because these are not anybody, it is somebody who has an identity on the blockchain. They also have a feedback, and we can cryptographically sign and submit the feedback. So anybody who wants to hire Analyst Annie will see her identity, we can see her feedback scores, and this is tamper-resistant, meaning you cannot erase it because it is being stored on the blockchain. And we are using a standard called ERC8004, which is a very powerful emerging standard coming from Coinbase, Google, Ethereum Foundation, and this we believe is the future. So we have adopted the standard, started building on it, and our entire agentic data room was built by having agents which are conforming to those standards, along with other industry standards like A2A, MCP, and X402. Just so that you know, in the last webinar series, we went over A2A, agent to agent protocol, and model context protocol. So I'm not going to repeat this. You can watch the recording. In the upcoming session, it'll be very interesting. We are going to cover X402, which is essentially the payment rails. How do we use blockchain as the payment rails and keep the payments very, very low? So now I gave you a sample analysis. I submitted a sample analysis. I showed you what was done previously. Then I'm sure I showed you like what is happening, like under the hood. How do we create trustworthy agents? So having said that, I'll go to my previous tab. My analysis on SanDisk is complete, so I can view the results. So the score moved a little bit. It didn't move a whole lot. It moved from 73 to 75. These numbers should be still very, very similar. And you can go to market intelligence. You can go to, oh, I forgot to show you the Q&A assistant. I'm not giving feedback anymore. So you can ask, who is the current CEO of SanDisk? So I can ask any question. So it has got a Q&A interface. And for everything that he answers, he'll provide a citation. Sorry, the scenario modeling took a little bit of time, so it just flashed up. So I will go to this Q&A assistant. So every answer that he provides, he will provide a citation, like where this is coming from. So there's a Q&A assistant, and again, like all the documents which were used, their extraction are provided here. So with that, I will wrap it up and open it up for any questions. Thank you again for attending this. We will keep the recording available, and next session would be on X402. Very, very interesting. So if you have any questions, you can ask right now, or we can wrap it up. Okay. All right. Doesn't seem like there are any questions today. Again, thank you for attending. I'll connect with you later on. Take care. Bye now, everyone.